Good job, Karen.
All right, we're ready to go. We're going to finish up the 10 Commandments today in our classroom time. And once again, once we finish these, we'll move on to something else next class. We are on the 8th commandment, which is, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. What does that mean? Will someone please read the answer?
We should fear and love God, that we may not deceitfully belie, betray, slander, or defame our neighbor, but defend him, think and speak well of him, and put the best construction on everything.
Thank you, Kylie. This is a very, very difficult command to follow because of human nature. It has both a positive and a negative deal. The negative aspect is the one, it might be a little bit easier. We're not supposed to lie about anything our neighbor does. So we're not to tell any falsehoods, anything like that. So this means, like at school, when you're messing around with somebody and you don't like them or what have you, you're not supposed to go around saying, okay, go, that person picks their boogers and they're disgusting, if you know they don't do it. You just don't spread that. And even if they do, you're not supposed to talk about it anyways. It doesn't matter if you like somebody, don't like somebody, or anything else like that. You do not pass on rumors and gossip. That also means you don't give secondhand information. A lot of times, this happens, and it happens in the church all the time. It happens at schools, jobs. Somebody comes up to you and says, did you hear what somebody did on such and such a weekend? Did you hear what somebody did to themselves? Did you hear that so-and-so was going out with so-and-so? If somebody comes up to you and says that, what are you supposed to do with that information?
Keep it to yourself.
Pretty much. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Keep it to yourself. We're not in the business of spreading rumors and gossip and stuff like that, particularly if it's negative. And that's the thing. I mean, if somebody comes up to you and tells you, oh, this person did this bad thing, you know, we like hearing bad news. I mean, we do. I mean, the thing about heroes is we love watching our heroes. We love watching our baseball players and our basketball players and football players. We love it when they excel. But it's also big headlines when they mess up, isn't it? It's also. You want to say something, Calvin? But it's true. I mean, if a football player gets caught, you know, doing drugs, headlines. You know, Ezekiel Elliott, you know, back in the day, you know, had a run-in with one of his girlfriends who said that he hit her, and even though he was clear of charges and everything else like that, has that gone away? If you're not a Cowboys fan, you know it hasn't. The news media is continuing to bring it up. In Hollywood, you always know when a celebrity checks into a rehab center, because we like hearing negative things about other people. But in God's command, it's no, we don't emphasize the negative in others. We don't pass that around. We don't make other people look bad so that we can look good. And a lot of times that's where a lot of that stems from. It's the fact that a lot of times we have our own insecurities, we have our own failings, and so we want to make ourselves look better. And it's really easy to make ourselves look better by dragging somebody else down. And so the first part of the commandment is we don't do that. We don't lie about others, we don't spread rumors about others, we don't gossip about others, because it's not our job to cut somebody down. Part of the primary reason for that, and I didn't put this in the readings, but part of the primary reason for that is, whose image are all of us created in? Huh?
Repeat.
Whose image are we all created in?
God.
Yes. Read. You got it. You got it. Genesis chapter 1 at the very end. We are all created in God's image. In the likeness of God, we are created male and female. And so because we are all created in the image of God, when we tear one another, whose image are we tearing down?
His.
We're tearing down God's image. So, the prohibition on the command is don't tear down God's image. The second part of that, the second part of the commandment is the positive aspect. It tells us what we're supposed to do. We are to defend our neighbor, speak well of them, paint their actions in the best possible light. That's not easy to do. How easy is it to have a friend call you an idiot or a classmate call you an idiot and then paint their actions in the best possible light? How easy is that? Not really, is it? Like, oh, thank you for calling me an idiot. I appreciate it. Does anybody do that? I mean, honestly. It's not easy to paint what people do in the best possible light. If you look at politics these days, you look at our current president, he's a flawed man. Do people tend to paint him in the best possible light?
No.
No. They don't. It's tough to do that, especially if you don't agree with some of the things that he does. Belleville people, do y'all tend to paint Sealy people in the best positive light?
Yes.
Sealy people, do y'all tend to present Belleville people in the best possible light? That's a rivalry. It's really easy to. It's really easy to cut them down.
I'm not bad at that because my mom went to Sealy and my dad went to Columbus, so it's kind of hard for me too.
Who won in that baseball game last night?
It was pretty close. I was getting scared at the end.
All right. The first thing is, of course, we don't spread gossip and rumors. But the second part is, if somebody comes up to us and says, okay, you know, like this person's a geek, this person, you know, uses vulgar language about him or something like that. It is our job as Christians to begin to defend them. Okay, even if we don't agree with them, we can say, okay, look, all right, President of the United States, I don't agree with all his policies, but he's a person. Therefore, we are not to demean him. We are not to, you know, call him names. We are to respect him as a person. And if you disagree with him, disagree with his ideas, but don't be disagreeable towards the person. And I think that's a very, very important thing to be able to do, is to be disagreeable towards an idea and not towards the person. And we'll get into that in just a little bit when I finish that up. The second thing that it's a tough commandment, and that's why it's really, really hard for each and every one of us to follow these commandments perfectly. If someone does hurt us, if someone is coming down on us, we are to try to take it and put the best possible spin on it. So if somebody is calling us names, if somebody is trying to bully us, we don't excuse their behavior. Don't excuse the behavior. Let's say, okay, maybe that person's having a rough day. Maybe that person, maybe their home life, their family life is not where it should be. Maybe there's some reasons that this person is acting the way they are toward me. That way we begin putting a different construction on things so that we don't hate that other person. Because that's part of what this commandment is getting at. We don't hate another person. Jesus said, love your enemies. How do you love your enemy when your enemy is trying to kill you? You remember that they're a person. That's how the commandment falls and what we're supposed to do. Any questions so far on that? Okay. The next part gets a little bit tricky because, you know, what you will have happen a lot, and even my kids do this to me, is they look at me and they say, don't judge me. I'm sure you've heard that once or twice. Don't judge me. What's behind that? People want their actions to be excused. But the fun part about that is, number one, it's illogical. Because when you tell me don't judge me, you're asking me to make a judgment. Did you know that? You tell someone don't judge me, you actually want them to make a judgment, but you want them to make a favorable judgment of you. Or render a neutral judgment, which means you are asking them to make a judgment. So it's a false statement to begin with. But secondly, do we have to judge things? Do we have to judge actions? Yes or no? Yes or no? Do we have to judge actions?
No.
Yes.
I've heard both yes and no. Those of you who say no, why don't we judge actions?
Because sometimes we do the same thing.
Okay. So essentially, don't judge actions because you may do it the same way and you don't want to be judged. Okay, I understand that. Are there any other reasons why you don't judge?
Doesn't it hurt another's feelings?
It could hurt someone else's feelings, yes. Alright, so why judge them? Those of you who say we should judge, why should we judge?
Oh, I thought you
Because
Because why?
just because it might be fun.
Oh, I thought you meant like.
Because it's what everybody else is doing.
I don't know, it might be.
I see Brianna over here messing around with her eraser, and so I go up to her and I smack her.
Hey, I must smack you.
Don't judge. You can't judge.
Yeah, guys, can't judge me.
No, there you go. Yeah, flick it, hit him.
No, I can't.
If there's no judgment, if there's no right or wrong,
There's a right or wrong, so you calm down because I said yes.
you want to live in a world without judgment where people can just beat the hell out of each other like that just because they want to?
Nope, I'm good.
Funny.
Hey, okay, from?
Yeah, it might be amusing to
Some
like
people
one
do,
person,
but it's not right to do it.
but.
If you say you can't judge someone's actions, that's exactly what you lead to right there. You can allow people to just to hit one another, beat up on one another, the strongest one wins. So, you know, Casey more than likely would be the top dog around here, and he'd just be able to tell you what he wants you to do. You don't do what he says, he beats the hell out of you. I mean, that's what it means with no judgment. Do you want to live in a world like that?
No.
No.
No, we judge. We do judge
Won't like
appropriately.
it. You won't like it when someone's bigger than you.
Right.
And we judge actions,
Yeah, I do too.
not the person. So, if I were, in that case, I go up to Brianna and I smack her across the face. You judge the action as wrong. You should not do that. And then I should pay the consequences for that kind of action.
Wait, you should.
Yeah,
not.
you should go to jail for.
No, you should judge the actions, but you should not judge me.
Yeah.
You should judge that I did wrong. I need to pay the consequences for those actions. But as a person, you don't judge whether or not I'm a damnable person, whether or not I'm a good person or a bad person. Maybe I was taught that that's the way you're supposed to handle a class, that you're supposed to, you know, discipline people by doing it. And that if someone taught me to do that, and that's the only thing I know, that's the way I'm going to act. That doesn't mean I'm a bad person. That means I was misinformed and taught wrong.
Almost like training a dog.
In some ways, it's training a dog, but it's a little deeper than that. It also means, you know, that we look at another person as a person. We look at them as a person who may repent. I messed up. If I learn from my actions and learn from my mistakes, I can redo it again. And so instead of slapping Brianna when she's playing around with her pencil, I can say, Brianna, would you please stop playing with your pencil? Big difference. Big difference. But I learned. And the thing about the Christian faith, the thing about what God is trying to teach us through the commandments, is that we give people the benefit of the doubt because they can learn. So we judge actions, but we don't judge people. Right? Make sense? Okay, let's move on to the 9th commandment. We're going to do 9 and 10, actually, both at the same time. So the 9th commandment is, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Alex, will you please read the answer? What does it mean?
Good job. I'll find it any day. Send it. Dude, I just moved the page.
We should fear and love God that we may not actively seek and get our neighbor's inheritance or house and obtain it by show of justice and rise, but help and be service to him in keeping it.
Thank you. Now thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his cattle, or anything else that is his. Rise, will you please read what that means?
Yep.
Under the 10th commandment.
Something hard.
Okay. We should fear and love God that we may not estrange, force, or entice away our neighbor's wives, servants, or cattle, but urge them to stay and diligently do their duty.
Now, Luther lumps his commandments together in the large catechism, and I'm going to lump them together as well. And there's a couple of things on here. Luther deals with actions about what we're supposed to do in regards to this commandment. And what he says we're supposed to do is not try to manipulate our neighbor into giving us his stuff. So I knew this is going to sound bad, but it's a true story. There was a pastor who at one time served at my previous congregation, and he knew who the rich people were, and so he made real good friends with one really wealthy family. In fact, this family at one point gave a gift to a school of $50 million. They were loaded. And he made friends with them. He spent a lot of time with them. He neglected other people with them. He was trying to get in with them really, really well. Why?
So you get money.
So he could get some money. That's coveting. That's what Luther says don't do. Don't go try to manipulate and be nice to people and what have you, just so you can get what they have. That's not what we do. We're not supposed to act that way. And at first he says with his house, you don't try to manipulate your neighbor to giving him or her your property. I've seen kids do this. I did that before when I was a kid. You know, somebody had something really, really neat, and I said, "Can I have it?" "Well, no, you can't have it." "Well, then, well, why not?" And you try to manipulate them. That's not what we're supposed to do. We don't covet that. And the 10th commandment is not about their property. It's about people. So you don't entice somebody's wife or husband to come be with you if they're married to somebody else. You don't try to be nice to them so that you can have affections towards them and what have you. You don't do that to people. And Luther is talking in that regard in his explanations. However, there's another very important thing about this commandment, and it has to do with what it tells us to do, and it makes it different than all of the others. Does anybody know what covet means?
Sounds like COVID. Like an assistant that.
Yep, it sure does.
To covet means to deeply desire. When you covet something, you want it. And you will do almost anything to get it. Now, where does that come from?
Your heart.
No.
Yeah. Rise and read it right. It comes from your heart and where? Where else do you desire things? You got it. You're right on it, Rise.
Okay, that's what I wasn't sure about mine.
Yeah, your desire starts in your heart and mind. This is what you want. And is this necessarily something you do? You think about all the other commandments. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love God alone. That's an action, right? That's who you worship. So that's something you do. Do not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. That's an action, right? That's something you do.
Yep.
Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy? Action. Honor your father and mother. Action. You shall not steal. Action. Or you shall not kill is the first one. Action. You shall not commit adultery. Action. You shall not kill. Action. Do not bear false witness against someone. Action. Here, it's a desire. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. That is a state of your heart. And this is what actually got Paul when Paul was looking through all of the things that he did as far as being a good Jew. He said, you know, I can accomplish the first 8 commandments. I can do those. And he thought he had done them. But then he got to this last one, and he said, what is my deepest desire? And he said, my deepest desire, what my heart and mind wants, is to be the best Jew ever. Now, if your heart is set on being the best Jew ever, like Paul's was, what are you going to think about all the time? Yeah, you're going to think about how do I follow the commands? I think about following.
Go.
Oh no, commands.
Oh, I mean commands, yeah.
I think about following the commands. I think about doing all the worship. I think about stomping out idolatry. That means anything that takes you away from God. And so when I see these Christians saying that Jesus is God, what do I do to those Christians? Well, I try to get them away from this because they are committing idolatry. So if I believe that Jesus is not God and that God is only the God who's in the Old Testament of the Bible, and these people are committing what I see as heresy, I'm going to stop them at whatever cost, because I want to be the best Jew ever. And so if God says take out Gentiles, and God says, get everybody to believe in Him, and these aren't believing, and they refuse to believe Him, I can kill them.
So take them out.
And take them out because they are not doing what they're supposed to do. All of a sudden, what am I doing?
You're murdering.
What commandment?
A
I'm breaking number 5. And then all of a sudden, if Jesus comes and reveals to me that He is God, and I have killed His followers, and I have said that Jesus is wrong, and that He is a false God, and that, what have I done to Jesus? What have I done to His name?
You put
Misuse
in
it.
Oh, misuse. So that's number 2. So he has committed number 2, number 5, and then when I've killed Christians, I've also spoke badly of them.
Well, then you're not the best Jew anymore.
And I've broke, which one was that?
Number 8. No, 9.
Number 8.
Oh, dang it.
The one we just finished. So I've broken number 2, number 5, number 8, and then I realize what I am chasing after. What has my God become?
The best Jew ever.
So by trying to focus on being the best Jew ever, my heart's desire, I've broken number 1. Because I have a false God. And so, if you covet something, you actually turn it into your God. So, if coveting what you covet becomes your God, if it becomes the thing that drives your life, if it becomes your be-all and end-all, what is the number 1 thing you should covet? God, yes. So, in order to not break numbers 9 and 10, the positive is covet God. Want God, desire God, and then you won't break that commandment. Any questions on that? Now, our society and everything else will tell you don't do this. Our society will tell you the things that you should. What are some of the things that the society says you should covet? What should you want more than anything in society? Huh?
Money.
Money. Yeah, society says covet money. What else?
Fame,
Fame. Yes. What else?
friends,
Friends?
Family.
Family?
possessions.
Publicity?
Maybe
Power.
Belongings.
Belongings?
I did 3 of those.
Here's one that you may not see because you are, what is that?
what?
Somebody said something?
Greed.
Greed.
What?
Here's one that y'all are all seeped in right now,
Did you have greed?
but you probably don't.
I said that and you know.
Well, I had greed because I said I did 3 of them. Knowledge.
Get your education, learn more.
Education.
Not really.
Covet, there are people who believe they should covet knowledge. Knowledge is the best thing that you can covet, and if you just get enough knowledge, everything will
It's
be all
one
right.
of the best things, it's not the best.
Fame? We got fame, good, yes, yes.
I said fame.
I said fame.
You did?
Yeah, I said the
Belongings,
first
yeah,
three.
that would be
No, you didn't. I
belongings.
said money.
But these are the things that the world tells you. Go get this stuff, and if you get all this stuff, you're going to be happy. But these become your gods really, really quick. And so part of the job of the Christian is to say, okay, are any of these things necessarily wrong?
No, not really.
No, not really. In fact, they can be very good
It's
things.
just human nature to want them.
The problem is not having this. I mean, we need money to survive. Having power and using it for good is a good thing. Having belongings, not bad. Greed, it can be, greed might be the only one on this list that we need to kind of look at. Knowledge is not a bad thing. Publicity, not a bad thing. Family, not a bad thing. Friends, not a bad thing. Fame in and of itself, not a bad thing. Just don't make them ultimate.
Make them secondary. Almost.
Yes, make them secondary. Keep God first, and then these things can fall into place. God can keep these things in check. So you always keep God first, and then everything else falls into place. So that takes care of commandments 9 and 10. And now we go to the very last little portion, which is what does God say of all of these commandments? So, Kira, will you answer? What does God say about all of these?
He says thus, I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the inequality of the fathers upon the children up to the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
Thank you. Now, what he's saying here, what God is saying is that if you hate me, then as a result, for 3 to 4 generations, that's usually about 20 years, so about 80 years, I will visit iniquity upon you. So that's punishment. But if you love me, I will visit love on you. How long? Thousands. So thousands and thousands of years that God will visit His love for those who love Him. So that's it's important to see, because sometimes, well, God is wrathful and angry. Yes, He is, but that's when you break His laws. And we don't want God to just let us get away with anything, because then we can do everything. Again, that scenario where if there's no right and wrong, you can do whatever. God needs to offer punishment for our failures and failings. So But how long is his punishment versus how long is his love?
Love is stronger and longer
Yep.
versus hate.
There's no comparison. His love goes for far longer. So, should we fear God? Does anyone want to be on God's bad side?
No.
No, so we should, yes, fear God.
You should
We don't
fear
want his punishment. Trust me, his punishment sucks.
the flooding.
Not just the flooding, but I mean, eternal separation from him is bad. I use this deal with my Sunday school, adult Sunday school class this morning. Because God's punishment is not a fiery pit, okay? If anyone tells you, okay, you're going to hell and it's going to be a place where there's the devil and fire and brimstone and stuff like that. No, that's not exactly what the Bible tells us hell is. It's actually infinitely worse. Pretend like you are thirsty and you need a drink. And you want water more than anything else in the world. You need that drink more than anything else in the world. And you're thirsty. Pretend, because you've been there, you've been thirsty like that. Now pretend like you start drinking the water, but the more you drink, the thirstier you get. It's not gasoline, it's water. But the more water you drink, the thirstier you get. Now pretend like that goes on forever. That's hell, right there. Hell is the more you want of something, even though you get it, the less satisfied you are.
It's like
The more you need a drink, the more you drink, the thirstier you become. That's what hell is. And that's God's punishment, essentially, for those who walk away from him. He lets them pursue their desires for forever. And so we should fear God because he will give us that, should we desire anything more than him. Good news is that we should love God even more because of what Jesus has done on the cross. He forgives us when we break these commandments. And we all break the commandments. I think as we have gone through this class, the way these commandments are taught, the way we know they are supposed to be, we break them all the time. But Jesus paid the price for that. He's the one who forgives our sin, because even though we have sinned against God, he takes the punishment for us. I've gone through that before. And because he was willing to do that for us and pay that price, we can love God more, because the same God who would punish us forgives us, because he loves us and doesn't want to see us perish. So we are to fear and love God, because he is a God of justice. He wants us to do right, and he will call us on what is right and wrong. We should fear him because of that. But we love him because we know he forgives. And the proof of that is the cross. Alright? Any questions?